I think the only way to go forward is for politics as we do it to be changed into a meritocracy as opposed to the patronage or politics of reward. I see that happening.
My fear is this. As we speak, we still have issues pertaining to an independent electoral and boundaries commission. Hasn't been quite set up. There are talks, of course, of whether we are going to have an election next year or not. That's just one fundamental. I'm glad that the Speaker of the National Assembly is going to recall Parliament by next week, which is good. And that's my fear. And that's why I'm asking in terms of then how Kenyans must begin to see these signs of the opportunity to speak about 2012 is going to be taken away from them by political leaders who want to maintain that status quo. How and I'm not being harsh on the country, but then how do you begin then to focus in that direction? What must one do then?
Jimmy, there must be a reference here to China Achebe's book that the center does not hold. It is very tragic and sad that the Right Honorable Prime Minister and the President are in a grand coalition government that is in grand dissolution. You have a situation where we have a crisis led by the two. And history must judge these two men, without any exception, very harshly. Because these guys, yes, put this country into hell. There was some people saying no Raila, no peace. And there were those who were saying Kibaki and Delea. And through them, people fought, people died.
Yes.
The bloodshed in this country was experienced. Both of them are comfortable. One in the State House and the other one in a billion-shilling OPM building in Nairobi. Even in Ocampo 6, they are not there. Even in all this national debate that we are going through, Kibaki and Raila are not there. But Kenyans are paying this price, including what you're saying. We don't have independent electoral commission. We don't have boundaries review. We don't have an independent police force.
No.
We do not have actually a clear and better picture. I think this country, civil society, the media, and all of us must demand of these executives that we put in power. As principle, we must demand. It is not a gift. It is an inherent right that they must preserve and protect the Constitution of Kenya, which includes making sure that every Kenyan has a better life and we have a peaceful coexistence. And that means they must get out of their partisan views, come together, negotiate, and consult, in the words of the Speaker, and give this country direction. It will not take longer than 1 hour of consultation at Arambi House for all these things to be sorted out. What these guys are moving all over Nairobi with motorcades. You know, Jimmy, you better try going to the airport when Kibaki or Raila is there. You cannot.
My goodness!
The car is on this side, and yet these guys can't sit for 1 hour to solve the problem of the country. So
I know you're right. You're right.
I mean, why are we attacking each other? Why are we attacking Ocampo
and forgetting
or I don't know, the Hague and so on? Yet the principals who were given the National Accord, supervised by former heads of state of Tanzania, and we have Kofi Annan and the whole world here, they swore that this opportunity was to reclaim the country. So you can't have the Prime Minister calling a press conference at 4, accusing the President who has accused him at 2. To ask Wananchi, what are we supposed to do?
Supposed to do exactly.
It is them to get in and clean their house. Jimmy, they must do this. And Jimmy, let me ask you, what happened in apartheid South Africa when de Klerk and Mandela sat down? They broke down the barriers of apartheid.
Absolutely.
What happened in the civil rights struggle when people like Martin Luther King, after fighting so long, were able to change the center and the politics of U.S. politics? And I'm saying that there is a way out. And the way out here today is for the two principals to actually bite the bullet and to lead this country. If they held a point conference today, jointly addressing the Kenyan nation and saying, given where this nation is, given the gravity of the matters facing this country as others go to the Hague, given the economic problems in this nation, given the challenges of joblessness and so on, we have stood here united and have made the following prayer to Kenyans. We are going to go to Parliament together, the way we went when we signed the accord.
Yes.
We are going to lobby and stay in that house until every name is passed, until every law is passed, until everything is righted and every wrong is removed. If they can do that, then they can show that they lead from the front. But this basis of opinion polls, this man is ahead, this one is behind. But in action, there is none. In my view, is a folly. And as long as Jimmy will live, history will judge these two principles harsher than it judged the problems of Kenya in 1963. Because Jomo Kenyatta said, let's forgive the colonialists, let us move on, and Kenya began as a nation. Because Kenyatta and the negotiators at that time made a decision. Right now, Raila and Kibaki have made no decision about implementation of the constitution and about moving this country forward. The ICC is just an excuse. The ICC is not the problem.
No.
The problem in this country is the lack of political will to be able to safeguard the rights of every Kenyan.
Well done. Come on, Tony, let me throw this to you. You know, I have to ask you this. So, you represent Eugene Wamalo, so to speak. You know, he's your boy.
Yes.
I
like Eugene.
Why? Why?
I don't know. I like Eugene.
Does he have it? Does he have that you know, that metal to take this country forward?
You know, Winston Churchill said that of all the virtues of a man, there is none more important than courage.
True.
And, you know, they say Eugene Wamalo is an upstart. They say he has no money. they say that he doesn't have, I don't know, a big office or a big party. And therefore, how can he be president? And I say, you know, to be.
So what does he have?
So what does he have?
What does he have? So no
I'm
tunes,
reminded,
no building, no big
you know, my favorite comic in Kenya is Alfred Mutua. And I really love the guy because I remember he dismissed Senator Obama.
Whoa!
As a
junior,
a junior senator,
junior senator
from Illinois. And there you are. And I think, Jimmy, this country will be shocked very shortly. I think Eugene Wamalo is among, if not the leading contender for president of Kenya in 2012.
What makes you say that?
You know, I've done this 3 times. You know,
yes, I know.
I know it's not the first time.
Yes, I know. Yes.
You know, in 1997, I was running Charity Ngilu's campaign,
yes.
And people said, "Oh, how can a woman, you know, ever do this?" People forget Charity Ngilu got almost 500,000 votes.
Yes.
We had 6 MPs from Central Province. We had Jeho Gatabaki from Githunguri, David Murathe from Gatanga. Uhuru Kenyatta was defeated by SDP by a man called Moses Muhia. Uhuru Kenyatta's auntie Beth Mogo was elected in Dagoretti on SDP. And we had 6 seats from, and of course, Disho from Thika.
Yes.
And Charity brought in 19 members of parliament, the Social Democratic Party.
Right.
And I remember when the Prime Minister's bid began in 2007, Charles Jonjo and I went to launch a Kikuyu initiative supporting the Prime Minister. At that time, his rating was 4%. And I would meet people who told me I was completely lunatic. He was telling me, how can Raila ever be a leader in this country? You know, he's feared and so on. And we ran a campaign. And the Prime Minister, in my view, did very well. I think that Eugene is a first-time MP. He's 41, a professional lawyer, a man who has, in the last 2 years, been at the top of Parliament in terms of the bills and the performance and so on. A man of high integrity and a professional. And he's 41 years. We're age mates. And I think that we have to do this not for Eugene Wamalo's sake. We have to do this not because it's generational change, but because we represent economic empowerment, political and social empowerment. And how do you do that? You do that because you're not just changing the actors, but a new way of doing things. Let's look at the new economy. Do you go to the post office as much as you use the email? The post office is being replaced by the email.
Yes.
Today we are on TV and on radio. People have a better way of communication than in the past, where you needed a headman and a chief to pass down the information.
That's true.
But being on Citizen today, on all your local FM stations, everybody can hear in a language they understand what is being discussed at national level. I think Eugene Wamalwa in 2012 will represent the first real challenge since 1963 of a new generation. People like Tom Mboya, Degama Pinto, the great nationalists of this country, the late J.M. Kariuki, in the 60s were fearless men.
Yes.
Martin Shikoku and that ache of Kenyans. Yes. They came and made, today we still talk about the sessional paper of Tom Mboya so many years after his death. And they built a country, an ethics and a value system which this country has ridden on for so many years. Now we must meet the big boys. They are big, GB.
Yes, they are.
It's a Goliath and David battle, but we must meet them eyeball to eyeball. We must ask them and force them to discuss the issues. We must debate with them their ideological beliefs and ask them, if in 30 years you haven't achieved this, why will you go to achieve it now? And we must say, put everything on the record, put everything on the table. You know, this idea that I suffered for the country is very good. I mean, I always give the example, you know, of people like Mandela, who suffered more than him. But after one term, he said, I'm moving out and leaving South Africa to chart their destiny. Then you've got people like Robert Mugabe, who was a very, very serious freedom fighter and was actually one of the strongest freedom fighters in Africa. But he has transformed himself into a dictator years after because he does not own Zimbabwe. So we thank the contribution of all the people who have suffered. But Jimmy, I keep telling people, I've been to prison.
Yes.
Fighting for this country. So I don't talk about this theoretically. But so has Matiba. So has Ouko paid with his life, and Muge, and J.M. Karaoke, and Degama Pinto, and others. So sacrifice should be honored, and statues and those kind of accolades should be given to everybody.
Should be given to,
everybody
exactly.
who's played a role.
Yes.
But the country should never be forced to elect its chief executive on that and that alone. The chief executive of the country must be able to be a beacon of hope, a beacon of trust, and a beacon, in my view, that brings out the best potential in every Kenyan, man or woman. And I think that in this election, again, I'm going to go out of my community. I'm always
like
branded.
Yes.
I have
like
never.
You've always done.
I've always. I'm going to go out there and say, look, why can't a member from Western Kenya be a president of Kenya? Why can't a young professional lawyer who has done nothing but build his name up and work very hard in difficult circumstances and had never the opportunity to steal, but has no shyness about offering himself to the country, why can't he have a chance and a go at it? And whether it is better to lose than win, but to be right. I always say you better be right and lose than to be wrong and win. And this is what happened in 2007. Who was right? The one who lost, or who won and who was wrong? You can win the wrong way, and you can win or lose the right way.
I see.
But you leave behind institutions, you leave behind things that history can always analyze. I want to say, Jimmy, one of the things that touches me the most in the life, who are your real icons? Is it Mahatma Gandhi? Is it not Martin Luther King Jr.? Is it not those people who never held high office? Is it not that the people who become iconic, that change and transform the world, are people who really were selfless in sacrifice? And I think one of the problems in Kenya is that people think that the price is political power and a seat somewhere at the lawns of State House.
Yes.
You know, I've been to State House. It's a interesting. It's not so nice. I'm serious. I mean, it's a house. It's bigger than most. I mean, it's got a long, kind of lawn and so on.
And many cars.
But I'd rather come to your house than go to the house.
It's been a pleasure to have you here, Tony, man. You must come back again. From between now and next year.
Yes.
That kind of opinion is what we're looking for. Thank you very much, man. Wow. So we need to refocus in terms of what is important. A constitution that still needs to be implemented, that will take us way forward. And you know what? Come on, let's move on from the ills of the past. We need desperately to move on. Before we go, of course, something to share with you, and that will be our quote for today. And here it is. Never look down on anybody unless you're helping him up. Okay? We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.